costume jewelry, which is what we typically think of as the things that are trendy. They pop in, they pop out, not precious metals, not super expensive, can be as cheap as maybe $5 or up to like $100, $150. But it's a lot more trend-based and the type of thing that you would see on the main floor of like a Macy's or a Belk or a regular department store. Mass-produced metal, coatings, faux stones, faux gems, plastics can be used as well. And last category is ethnic jewelry. So from all over the world, they can be specific to culture or origin, and turquoise kind of falls in this category as well, from a Native American standpoint. And that is usually the last category of jewelry. Sorry. Now I'm crunching my mint. I love this recap from Vogue, which is the fall runway trends for all accessories. But since this is our number one accessory speaker we have this semester, I wanted to touch on some of the real life 11 accessory trends from fall 2023 that you will actually wear. They have the wrap, all wrapped up they call it. You can see it walking the runway in a variety of different ways. I'm sorry if this was not showing to you. Okay. The over-the-top wrap. Sorry. Why is it not showing? There we go. Over-the-top beautiful wrap. And done in different ways with embroidery and flair, as we saw in the first one, here in a beautiful print. Some feathers on that rock the one ran here from Michael Kors. The next big accessory would be the well-appointed bag. I wish there was a better way to show this. I'm sorry about the way that the screen is showing. Then they call it handle with care, some cool accessory flair. I like the telephone one in particular. A higher power. So for power and practicality, nothing beats the over-the-knee boot, except that is the thigh-high style. So that's a big trend coming out. Gate, precious metals. You can see here as exemplified in those handbags. Sorry. Soft footing. There's a very interesting one here with kind of a raccoonish look to it, but there's something very tender about enveloping your feet in soft faux fur as you go about your day. Carry things close. Fall's biggest bags weren't slung from the shoulder, but clutched under the arm. Saw that a lot walking the runway this year. And made for walking. Whether combat style, buckled, or hiking inspired, lace-up boot is an essential part of fall accessories. And then seeing red. Lots and lots of red out there on the runway, and it fed over from ready wear into accessories as well. And the blow up the logo. Seeing more and more of the logo taking over across accessories and as well as in ready to wear. The last one. 2020 vision. So, glasses. Eyeglasses are shorthand for wanting to see clearly, for seeking out comfortable truths. It's strange to consider eyeglasses a necessity for those who wear them as a runway trend, we know, but it's even weirder to think these models wearing glasses is an extremely rare occurrence. So just to touch on all of those before we dive into our guest today. Okay. So I want to welcome Ranjana Khan to the stage with me. She was born and raised in Mumbai, India. Started her career in fashion as an international model. Immersed in culture that embraces vibrant colors and unique textures, Khan grew inspiration from the detailed hand embroidery of artisans whose skills have been passed down and perfected generationally over centuries. In the 1990s, she started collaborating with European designers by creating embroidery concepts for Lanvin, Balenciaga, McQueen, Valentino, Armani Privé, among others. And after 30 years in the business, she launched her own jewelry brand in 2008. Ranjana Khan's jewelry uses materials such as seashells, beetle wings, and feathers to craft wildly unique statement earrings worn by the likes of Beyonce, Michelle Obama, and Cardi B. Thank you for being here today. Excitingly, she also brought with her some of her product to showcase to you all.
That would be lovely.
I don't know, do you want to lead with that?
No, I just wanted to give you
Okay. Get it more set up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then the earrings to her.
Okay, awesome.
What was that? Yeah, why not?
Do you want to start by talking a little bit about the brand?
Let me say something. Should I start at the beginning or maybe?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the brand and then we can go backtrack
Okay.
on how you got here. And I'll actually pull up your website for students to see while we're talking.
So, where do I begin? I was born and raised in India. I was a model at 16, 17, and the path I was going to take was either college or no college. And when I did get into college, it was not something you want to hear, but that was my trajectory. Was psychology and history. Those were the subjects, and I knew I was just going to spend 4 years of something that I may not even stick with. And fashion has always been in my head. And so after modeling for a couple of years, at age 20, I started to produce the shows, fashion shows. And we took a show to Germany, and that gave me a lot of experience and confidence that, wow, I can do this. And just from, it started so young, and then just from that could just take off and went across the world with a lot of shows, traveled with my troupe and everything, just was under 24. Then at 24, I was going to have an arranged marriage to a guy in Canada, and I did not want to do that. But I told my parents I would go and see him, and I did, and had a visa for the States. And I came to America and never left. And again, it stayed, and I met and married my now husband, Naeem Khan. I don't know if you know him. He's a fashion designer. And he was Halston's assistant, so it's a great spot to just land right in the middle of fashion. Our first date was Studio 54, and meeting with Andy Warhol, and that whole crowd was quite sensational and exciting. We had no idea what kind of history we were in the middle of, zero, but it was just lucky that happened. And Naeem's family, my husband's family, was they hand embroidered artisans, and that's why I wanted to see what you can create. So we decided to have. He wanted to leave Halston. Halston hours were crazy. You had to be at work all day, and then had to go at night to this party or that party. And after a while, you couldn't take it anymore. And we actually escaped to LA, and started his own collection called Riazi. And from 1980 to 1983, we didn't like LA, but it did very well. We bought a home there, and thought that the Hollywood thing would be fun, but they all want to borrow your stuff and wear it and give you some, say your name somewhere here and there and send it back. Didn't work out. We came back to New York and started the collection called Riazi, and of clothing, hand embroidered clothing. Now this hand embroidery is ancient in India. It's a man's profession. It's only men that hand embroider, and it's passed down from father to son, because it's very difficult to. There's many stitches. There's either a stick needle or a crochet needle, and it takes a lot to learn these. There's over 1,000 stitches, French knots and drop stitch and a sequin with the French knot, and you'll see the details on some of those swatches that I have. And so I was very much involved with the fashion thing. And then I had 2 children and didn't work at all for 10 years, but our business was doing well till I decided in 97 to start my own company away from what Naeem was doing. It was called Phoenix. And I created swatches and took them to designers in Europe, all over Europe, and showed them my ideas, my design ideas. And it was from the first day, my first designer was Jill Sander. And cold call, Hamburg, Germany, went there. She loved what I had to offer. And she never used embroidery to start with. It's not a label like that. Very, smart, elegant, beautifully cut clothing with the best fabrics. And it really blew my mind that she just went right away, and we did a very big collection with her. And then the word spread. Assistants from her company talked to assistants from IFA, Alberto Ferretti, and so on. And then it just grew. It was, my husband called it a cash cow, because to have an expertise in one thing is important. To find that one thing. Embroidery is mine, and it so happened that it fell into my lap. And I could have taken it and not be interested, or I don't know what I would be doing now. But it's the last 40 years now that it's part of my life. And our sons are the 4th generation. It's a 103-year-old company. They're the 4th generation in the embroidery world. Uh-huh. And so it's in their DNA.
Yeah.
And definitely I learned it. And so the jewelry that I design is, no one does that kind of jewelry at all, because it's only hand embroidered. But very unique materials together. So you take a look. So why don't you, show the jewelry. So that's a neckline. If you can just hold it up and you'll see. I worked with Albert Elbaz of Lanvin. Do you know who he is, who he was? He passed away during COVID. He got COVID and sadly left this world. I worked very, very closely with him. So that was a belt. If you put it the other way, it was like that. So you see, it has always maple pattern, and the belt that was for Jean-Paul Gaultier. So I was in 2003 is when I started to work with Albert Elbaz in Paris, Lanvin. And Janine Lanvin, he had taken over from her. I mean, she started it in the 30s, but the idea was to bring her back, to bring her sensibility back. And she loved pearls, but he wanted to have pearls that are just something else. Ranjana, make it something soft. How can I make pearls soft? So I just told him to give me a bit of tulle, needle and thread, and I'll be back the next day in Paris. I went back to my hotel. That's the thing, you just have to immediately go and jump to it. How am I going to make these pearls soft? So I made a tube, sewed it with my hands, put a tube of tulle made it outside in, and put a pearl, I made a knot. Do you remember those tulle-covered pearls?
Yeah.
That was my idea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we sold 60,000 strands.
Oh my gosh.
Like 30 million retail. It was written about in Newsweek and Time for a phenomenal way of where jewelry is going.
Wow.
So it was basically a black. The first one I made was out of a pink tulle. I still have it because it's my archive. I made it with my own hands. But it's a tube of tulle, a white pearl and a knot, a pearl and a knot. And then the ends were 18 inches of tulle. So you would actually just tie it around your neck. And if you look for it, they were iconic. It's still available on eBay for more than it sold for in those days. And that was a skirt for Fendi that was part of it. That was the first swatch.
It's beautiful.
And it's all metallic sequence. It's copper and brass and silver.
And so is all that hand sewn?
All hand sewn. Everything is hand sewn.
Wow.
Everything is it. Show me that T-shirt with that top of that. Yes, this was a swatch that I made from which we did a lot of work with this. So it's just the stippling. Yeah, it's a T-shirt. It's a stippling effect. It's just how far you place the dots to create the breast and the abs. And now Bergdorf saw that swatch the other day. We had a meeting at home. I have a home office. And she came over and she saw one of these things. I want T-shirts because now, forget about freeing the nipple. They just want to put, just like being naked. So it's changed a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I love it. So now we have a whole collection of this coming too. With pants, with the, the shape of the butt, shape of your
Under your
muscle.
branding.
Yes.
But
yes.
because it's not, nothing like that's
No,
on your
it's
site
about,
yet.
no, it's about to. It's they're waiting for me to
Greenlight it.
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
That's great.
So if you look at that pair of earrings, you see all kinds of
Wow.
things. It's feathers and silk thread and
Beautiful.
raffia, and they're all clip-ons, and the clip-ons are really, really comfortable. They're big and light as air, so you can really wear them and not feel like you want to take them off and you forget how big they are, and suddenly you look at them and it's like really large. the black and white feather ones, yeah, those are my favorite right now. But yes,
I love that. And so,
something little.
yes. Where will these be produced?
Everything in India. And
Everything's
it's all,
produced in
yes,
India.
everything is produced in India. That's where my factories are, and that's where most of my people work. Here in New York, it's just like 2 or 3 people that work.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just Charlie.
Charlie.
But I'm just in the process of hiring.
Yeah. Charlie took this class in the fall semester and is out working in PR. Maybe doing more than that, I don't know.
Yes, he is. Right now, he's doing everything.
Yeah.
Production.
Jack of all trades.
Yes,
That's great. Well, taking it way back to the beginning, wonder if you could, unless you want to keep going with the product, which we can also,
No, I mean,
we can take interludes. What was it like working in the modeling industry? And I know it,
In
probably
India,
feels like a while
yeah.
ago. In India.
I mean, this was in '73, long time ago. So it was very different. Now it's very much like it is here.
Yeah.
It's very organized and it's regulated, and how many hours you work and the breaks. Before it was just like you make it or you don't. It was. That's how Naeem knew me. He's 3 years younger. We were in the same school, but he knew me because he saw me on billboards and whatever. And so it was. Yes, there were 5 top models in India, and so we traveled a lot. And so whatever shows that we had to do, we went to Russia in 1977 for a trade show.
Wow.
It was a trade center, and we did this show. And we met Brezhnev.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he came and saw the show. So yeah, we did get to travel a bit. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I got to learn about how clothes look on you, how you feel in your clothes, and just the sari. In India, we wear the sari. It's 6-8 yards, depending on the style. And it takes a minute to put on, really, to drape it. You can go so fast and put it on, but it's an evening dress, in my opinion. Even a sari, and my mother wore a sari her whole life. She had a pajama sari, which is made out of malma, very, very soft cotton. So, for to go out, it would be a silk embroidered whatever, and in the morning it's a crisp white sari. But it's a lot of fabric so I grew up watching this. And then I wear a sari so rarely. It's like, take care of it the whole evening. You can't just move fast in it. It's quite crazy.
Yeah.
But modeling was interesting. It really made me realize my style. How I'm not trendy. I don't like to follow trends ever.
Yeah.
Never have. Kind of not even fashionable. I'm just stylish. It's style.
Yeah.
It's my style. It's unique. I'll wear. I have my clothes from 40 years ago.
Wow.
I've only worn clothes that I've liked and I enjoy, and upscale, downscale, cargo pants. Thanks to you, I'm dressing differently, but it's fun to explore everything. But modeling got me to be able to love and enjoy and widen my perspective. The clothes the materials that I use in my jewelry, as you see, there's all different kinds of materials, but manipulated differently. Yeah, that's a cup. Yeah, you just put it on one ear. Yeah.
The clothes that you were modeling when you were doing it, were you modeling saris or were you?
No.
No.
Very rarely. I've done a lot of sari prints, but not runway. Runway, I have done a couple, but it's just a lot.
Yeah.
There's all this fabric. Now it's very different in India. They have the draped sari, they have the zippered sari, so it's just a zip. And then the fabric, that to me I don't like either, because it has to be, it's 1,000 years old. Women have been wearing it like that for so long, so
right.
That is what I see a sari.
Yeah, it breaks from tradition. So if I was following correctly, so then you're saying you ended up starting a show production?
Yes,
a fashion show company.
Yes, so I started that at 20 because I was already modeling and doing shows, and some of it I didn't get, some of it was just like, I can do that better.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, this is what they do, and you just don't have to continue doing the exact same thing. Think outside the box. And I got an assignment for it was the World Trade Center. In Bombay. They just these two towers that they had just built, and they wanted. And in Bombay at that time there weren't so many tall buildings, and they wanted to do a fashion show. So I made a pitch, just cold turkey. This kid, 20-year-old, and they said, because I had modeled before, and I said I have experience, gave them how and why, and they said okay. And I was shocked, and it was amazing. The lady that I modeled with, the troupe I belonged to, Jeannie Navroji, I loved her and I learned a lot from her. She loved me, but she couldn't believe that I'm doing what she does.
Yeah.
And now this would have been her thing to do, but so she came to the show. And it really, her loving it was validation, for me. And it was like, yeah, I can do this. So I did that till I left. I left at 24, 5 years. I modeled and did shows, but just learned more about clothing. The dhoti is like a sari, but it's 9 yards, and I never ever. It's a Maharashtrian dress, typically from Maharashtra, where I don't know if you've seen it, but it's at the museum for sure. Where it's a sari. The sari is wrapped around you, and then there are pleats. You tuck it, and then you take the pallu and throw it back. But with the dhoti, after the pleats, you actually take one end and you tuck it back here, so it's like pants. So you have you get totally moved, and then you tie it around your waist, and then it's over. So it's modest, but I love wearing a dhoti. Now it's quite fashionable. Otherwise, in the old days, it was just the servants wore dhotis.
Really?
That's it. That's the class that cleaned because they can't clean the floor and whatever with a sari.
Yeah.
So they had to, tuck it in. But now it's so fashionable in India.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. I love it. I love wearing a dhoti.
How do you think it's different working in India versus New York?
Well, I've been here 44 years, you know.
Yeah.
So and it was different. India's different now. India is a country to watch.
For sure.
She's flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most populated country since the last 2 years. So beat China, but also that more than 60% of the people, the workforce is under 36 years old.
Really?
So there's it's a country that's just moving
Ready
so
to go.
fast, ready to go, and yeah. So there's a lot of new industry, and embroidery is a very big part of it because it's an old China and India, but Indian embroidery is I don't know what through political reasons when it became communist, a lot of artisans just stopped embroidering in China. In the old days, Chinese work, if you look at old Chinese embroidery, it's so beautiful. They have a butterfly wing with 10 shades of yellow.
Wow.
And you don't even know where one shade starts and the other ends. They split silk thread to get that degradé just right. So embroidery can be just so delicate, and it's such a vast world. There's so many different. I have 7,000 swatches in my house right now. I've designed 25,000 through my career.
Wow.
So it's so I took one thing and stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's from being a model, from designing with Naeem, then working with designers in Europe, Albert Elbaz, Jean-Paul Gaultier Couture, McQueen Couture, Armani Privé, Lanvin, of course, Ralph Lauren, Oscar de la Renta, so many. I worked with 30 designers in Europe. So I was in Europe 7 months of the year, and my kids were 10 and 12 when I started. I was just an absent mom after that. I was there a lot, but it was Naeem had to kick in because he was home. But it took me. I had to travel a lot, and it's always for the shows. So sampling and taking everything, taking it to India, and bringing it back within 2 weeks already. It's just stress level up to here. And I had to quit. After 12 years of that, I quit and I started my own collection, which is the jewelry.
So how did you get the idea?
Well, when I realized that tool-covered pearl necklace, that I made that up one afternoon at a hotel because of what he wanted to do with the pearl.
Yeah.
And when it went the way it went, it just encouraged me to do your own thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was very successful and very interesting to work with these designers. And Jean-Paul came to India 4 times with me.
Really?
Yeah, because he loves India. And for couture, he really wanted to, he wanted his mind blown. He said, show me what you can do. So I said, come to my factory. And he would come and he'd sit, it's all men and they all sit on the floor. And I'd give him a stool and he'd sit by each one of them and start with something. I said, now go to Rajasthan for a week and come back. And it would blow his mind what he could do.
Yeah.
And did any of you see his exhibit in Brooklyn, at the Brooklyn Museum? It was his couture about 2 years ago. Jean-Paul Gaultier's couture.
I didn't.
And there was about 18 pieces there that I had done.
Really?
I'll give,
That's pretty cool.
There was the Eiffel Tower, which was done in that stippling effect. But there was one pair of tights, which I'm so crazy, really, to go there. He wanted snakeskin tights. I said, so how do you do that? So we used snakeskin. I mean, now all that is out, but this is about 15, maybe 18 years ago. And I made them cut all the scale as it is on the skin. So the spine, the center is wide, the scale, and then there's 4 other scales. So they would cut it and sew it from the back. The spine is in the back. And then the rest of the scales came all the way around. Now, how do you sew it? So I had to get this plastic leg to put it in the hose. First of all, if you get hose that won't rip, very strong. And then they sewed each scale on.
Wow.
And then when you put that on, I mean, that's couture.
Is there a photo in there? I want to see this now.
No, it's not in
not in
there.
there.
But there are the Gautier. Take it out. So that was all Gautier couture. You should actually go through the book and pass it around. But that is the couture and all of this. So this is only with the size of the bead that we created. The Eiffel Tower, the trees and the clouds. And this is all sterling silver. Which is, I haven't put anywhere which design it is, but that's Lanvin. These are all the necklaces that we created. After that, we just went great. So you can look through there and last time. But yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm 67 years old and I don't want to quit working ever because what I'm doing is just so much fun. I just got back from India 2 days ago. I'm so jet lagged right now. I have to go out from here.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's exciting to do the next season. I mean, I get so excited. Charlie knows it's like, I went and found this kind of material. Did you show the beetle wings?
So that was passed around.
Yeah, but just the beetle wings. So this, of course, now it's all, everything you want to buy is, and what you use in your materials is not, you can't use fur anymore, and you can't use, what else is it that you can't use? No snake skin, and that kind of thing. It's all good. So what do you find? Exotic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like things out of nature.
Yeah.
That's why I use ostrich feathers, but the beetle wings they're the Christmas beetle wing. During Christmas they just drop their wings, and they make new ones. They molt. So you just pick them up and they're so beautiful.
That's that Nina's telling you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That.
Wow.
Yeah, those are beetle wings. So those will keep their iridescence. That's a natural color, iridescence, and will keep that color forever.
And do you
It could break.
dry them somehow, or they actually are dried that hard?
No, they fall off because these are the wings that they're using. When they're making the new wings, they're soft till they get to the air, like butterflies. But they're strong enough. I went to the museum. That's where I got the idea to use it. To the Asian Museum here in New York, and they were showing a Tibetan robe on a dowel. It was like that, the back of it. And there were 2 of those beetle wings, and it's 800 years old, that robe. They were still the same color.
Wow.
Now you could break it, but they don't get any more fragile.
Yeah.
I mean, if you stepped on it, it would break. If you did that, it would break. But we've never got a return that, the wings are broken.
Yeah.
It could fall off because the stitching broke or it's old and it's been, also they move around a lot when it's on your face.
Yeah.
But so those are the kind of materials I use. And I go to Bali, Colombia, all to the fairs. I go to Première Vision in Paris. I would go every year to see, fall and spring, to see what's the trend, what's the new color, it feels like you're walking through the halls, and through osmosis, you get to understand what's happening next season.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. And so because you work a year in advance, because I'm showing the designers an idea. So, and that idea is going to be the show in September to be delivered in February. And so it's like that. It takes a year. And it basically just sits in your head, and like the tulle, the different kinds of tulle, the colors in fur at the time. There was a two-tone for a while, and I said, that's not going to stick, but I think it is, because it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the colors just come to you, it's like, and you follow it.
Yeah.
And it's,
Other than that, are there other places you go for inspiration? I mean, it sounds like you're traveling the
India,
world for it.
India for sure. Last week I was in Jaipur, and I've been buying my materials. I use a lot of semi-precious material, And I've been buying it. Where's Five Mountain Gems? Somewhere in the Middle West. I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the country. And we get all our stuff from there. And they come here, they come to New York in packages, says made in India. And I'm sending it to India. So it just didn't make sense. I found a source this time in Jaipur that carves all, all semi-precious, agate, lapis, malachite, quartz crystal, red, pink, blue, clear, opals, just beautiful stones. I found the source.
Wow.
And it's in my own country, but I didn't know how to get there. I finally, went to Jaipur and by luck. And now I've started a new thing. So it's fashion up until now, but fashion does go into other fields. Now I'm doing home furnishing, but it's all embroidery. So embroidery is, I would call myself an expert. When you spend 10,000 hours on something, you're an expert in it. I've probably done, 10 times that, because it's the last 30 years, it's all with embroidery. And I sit with my artisans. I sit with them. And so now we're doing tapestries and curtains, and it's a whole different, but I'm using the swatches. There's one swatch. So that was the original. That's the original swatch with beads and with scratchy, material that you couldn't possibly sit on. And now we just finished doing, that's a sofa and pillows. And so, can you bring it here for a second? I just want you to see the delicacy of it. Look at the French knots and the silk threads.
Beautiful.
That's all done by hand.
Wow.
This took over
I was gonna ask
10
you.
days.
10 days.
10 days for one man. And it always should be on one hand, with one hand, because not everyone's French knots are the same size and the same shape.
Uh-huh.
It's so individual. It's really quite interesting.
Wow.
But the home furnishings is so different, but so much fun.
Yeah.
And in the end, the whole thing is about embroidery. In the end, so all the stitches that I try and learn each and every stitch. Not each and every, there's thousands.
Yeah.
But the ones that I use a lot.
Yeah.
And it's easy. Sometimes I see it in my dream. It's so great, especially when I'm working with them. Like for the last week, I've been with my team, and just in front of them, because we're designing a new collection, and it's going to come in. But it's when you're in it, you're so wrapped up.
It's all you can see when you close your eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but also if you love what you do, you're not going to find work a chore. You're going to love going to work, and I love my job.
That's great.
And pick the right thing. Pick the thing that'll make you happy. And Charlie too. Yeah, be happy with what you're doing. And go deep into the field of whatever it is that makes you happy.
How often is it that you get over to India?
2 to 3 times a year. I've already been twice this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you'll go for like a 10-day stretch? And
This time was 3 weeks because I went
3
for a
weeks,
big
oh, wow.
party.
Yeah.
Sabyasachi, this Indian designer, he was opening his flagship store in Mumbai.
Oh.
And he's a very dear friend, so he wanted me to be there. And then my friend from Bergdorf, Linda Fargo, and her boyfriend, we went to Jaipur.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I found all the sources I found handloom fabrics for the home furnishing, which is absolutely unique fabric. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I work with decorators, so it's not, I don't have it's all expensive. It's the curtains that, for one of the rooms, from the base fabric that comes from Italy, and comes to me, it goes to India for embroidery, then it comes back, it goes to the curtain maker to be made, and then it goes to the house, and it has to be hung.
Oh,
One curtain for one room could be 250,000.
wow.
And it's traveled 100,000 miles before it gets hung.
Yeah.
So it has to be something spectacular because they're going to look at it for a long time. They've put so much money into it, and that's what excites me too. So I work with decorators, the top decorators, who do the homes of. I'm bad about, I forget it, that I sign an NDA and I pop my name. The person whose house we're doing, so I said, don't make me sign anything.
Yeah.
Just don't tell me whose house I'm doing. So right now it's a Hollywood couple. I just don't know which one. And it's her naked body. She wants it in her boudoir, so we're going to be embroidering her whole.
Oh, wow.
There's a picture of her. There's
And
no
you don't know who
face.
it is?
I don't know. There'll be no face. There'll be no face, but I have this body to embroider.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
Yeah,
Very. All these projects are so different and unique and exciting. And I'm a grandmother now, and someday I'll have to stop working, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's because the next project is more exciting, and I'll just there's a few new clients that I know that they just work in LA and just be a whole different world. So it's fun, Someday I'll stop working. The curtain lady, Kathy Larigence, she designs curtains. She does all the top designers' work in an atelier in New York, and she's 74. It's like she still runs this big operation. You can keep, if you're excited about what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
It's.
Look at Joe Biden.
It's the key.
He's 80.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
But your website, you kind of scratches the surface, it sounds like, on what it is that you're doing day to day, because you have all of these special projects that you're working on. And I also noticed that you have a pretty robust wholesale presence as well, with, you're selling on Bergdorf's,
Yes,
Revolve,
yes,
and
yes.
I don't know, where else?
At Saks, Neiman's, Stanley Korshak. Through COVID, we lost a lot of stores.
Yeah.
And now everyone has moved so much.
Yeah.
The buyers have moved, and so when we get back to them, they don't know us. And
Yeah.
So it's a whole new, and it's through COVID. It's in the middle of COVID that I started my home furnishing.
Oh, wow.
So it's just pivot to do something else.
Yeah.
As long as the constant part of my world is embroidery.
Yeah.
So. And my factory's in India. And now, it's like I have to give them work. I feel responsible. They have families, and this is their only job. This is all they know.
Yeah.
They've studied it their whole life from their parent, from their father. And father taught. So there are some that just use a stick needle, which is like that.
Wow.
And some just use a crochet needle. It's basically, one hand is doing this and the other hand is doing this.
Oh my gosh.
It's like this.
Sounds very complicated. Yeah.
It's
And how
like
many
that.
factories do you have? Two?
Two
Or
factories,
two? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but one factory is my husband's family factory, which is, there's 3,000 people
Wow.
that I can tap into when I'm doing a big curtain job. It's like, and I don't want 6 months. That's the other thing, I deliver everything so fast.
Yeah.
Because, and the jewelry factory is mine. So we have between 12 and 18 people
In the
in the jewelry factory.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but these things, they some of it gets done very quickly.
How many will you make of, one of
Every
these
season
amazing
is about
pieces?
50 or 60 styles.
Styles.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but how many per style? Are they all one of a kind?
One of a kind.
All of them are one
Yeah,
of a
and
kind. Okay.
I'm a little crazy because every season is so different from the last. It's like, why
Yeah.
would I bring back that one that did really well? But I think, and no one in the world is doing jewelry like mine yet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just stick with it.
Yeah.
we'll do it differently because it comes easily.
For sure.
I've done it for so long, so that it also, once you change the material, the whole thing
Changes anyway.
Changes anyway.
That's true. And how do you publicize about what you're doing? What types of
We're not
techniques
good
are
at
you
that.
That's why Charlie's there.
I am looking for someone. I need someone. I'm a boomer at Instagram and TikTok, and I don't get any of that. I was in India with in the most beautiful places, and didn't post one thing. Yeah, I know. It's like I just don't. I don't know why.
It's not
I
second
should.
nature.
It's not.
Yeah.
Not even. It's not even something that like I want to do. A lot of my friends my age will do it. No, it doesn't. It just I don't care.
Yeah.
You know. And so I mean, if I did, I am going to hire someone for social media, and you know, because I know that is the platform now. My goddaughter, who's 13 years old, she made a TikTok with me in my house. She came over to hang out and have dinner with me, and we also have headbands that are quite crazy. And she put on the headband and we were just dancing. I mean, the amount of eyeballs that came on that thing was shocking. She's 13. So it's like, I bet it's the way of the future, and I've got to get on it. But
Yeah.
we're going to find that person. Yeah.
That's great. What have you found to be the hardest part about running your company?
Hardest part. Yeah. Creating a good team right now, especially.
Yeah.
You know, after COVID, so much has changed, and the team broke apart, and everyone went back to their homes, and so that for me is the hardest part. I am looking for the right people.
Yeah.
You know, someone for production, for social media, and there's not very much else that happens. Most of my work happens in India.
Yeah.
Which is, that's the main work. It comes in then, and sales. A salesperson is important. We've just started the platform Jor.
Oh, yeah.
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 And it's just starting off now, but we don't know how long it's going to be
Yeah.
before it takes off. But it's not bad. I mean, we do well.
Yeah.
The jewelry sells itself. But yeah, being at Bergdorf is a big thing.
Yeah.
Because it's one store in the world,
Yeah.
and people from all over the world will come to Bergdorf to see what's new, and they sell, and it's at Linda's at Fiji, my product. It was on the first floor, but that's fine jewelry, and it didn't really work.
Yeah.
But now it's people will go there and say, it's at Bergdorf, and that's how I get a lot of stores.
Other eyeballs.
Yeah. And they sell 2 to 3 pairs a day,
Wow.
every day.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, and what a cool, statement to be saying that you're wearing these one-of-a-kind
Exactly.
pieces.
It's one off. And then it's one season and it's gone. We don't bring it back.
Yeah.
So it's, it's collected.
Yeah.
Our online business is not bad, and that's really good because it's retail.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what do you think is the best part about running your own company?
The best part, the creative process.
Yeah.
That to me, and the travel. When I love to go to trade fairs in Bali and Colombia and India, because it's all artisanship. And Jaipur in India especially. If you ever get a chance to go to India, go to Jaipur. It's where Diana Whelan coined this phrase, shocking pink is the navy blue of India. And it's true. Everyone wears this bright color all the time. In Jaipur, you'll see it. There'll be a sea of coral or shocking pink turbans, and it's a wedding. And you're looking at them, and they're just a whole...
So happy.
Yeah, so happy.
I'm so flying with my seat.
India is full of very bright colors. And they put every color that doesn't even work together, and somehow it works. Printed blouse with another print sari, and and it's just, that's how they are. They just, even the ladies in the fields, you see them blind, it's bright, you can see them standing out, because the colors are just so bright.
Yeah.
That's
That's fun.
yeah, it is fun. The creative process, it really is what turns me on. It keeps me wanting to continue.
What does your creative process look like? Do you kind of have a vision for the whole season, or you just sort of...
No. It's,
make it fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
It sometimes starts with the material. The material speaks to me, this is how that's going to be. Like feathers. Feathers are like,
Yeah.
just from volume. If you saw the earrings, how light they are. They're like air. You don't even feel them.
Like a feather.
Yeah, like a feather, literally. And then museums. I go to museums a lot. So and also I bought a book on Klimt, right? Recently. So I'm doing a lot for home furnishing. I'm doing a lot of borders of Klimt, so now that'll appear. It's Klimt-esque, because I do my own thing with it. It's not exact, but so go to the museums and something that turns me on. We went to Lisbon and went to the museum and saw the jewelry of the royalty from 200 years ago, and I just, you're not using precious materials, but you're looking and took a lot of pictures, and I'm making a collection of that. Pins, the monarchy, the English monarchy, the jewels, the way, the fleur-de-lis, you make versions of that. So once you have these thoughts in your head, and I have my tool with my factory. So I take pictures and they draw it out, and then they work on it right there. It just comes alive.
Yeah.
But instead of using a real sapphire, we're using a lapis, But it's still semi-precious and beautiful. It came from the earth, gives energy. Yeah.
Who do you feel like is the most interesting person you've met throughout your career?
The most interesting persons. Well, in my work, I would say Jean-Paul Gaultier, Albert Elbaz, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he would, if you're familiar with his clothing, it was almost always just draped. There was a drape here, and it would form a sleeve, and then there would be another drape over here. And often when I'd have meetings with him, there'd be a form and just yardage. And he would just pick it up and drape it and pin it. And it was this dress that I could see myself wearing to the most beautiful party, and unique. So and then the team. So that's the thing with the team. How do they translate that? Because it's not one pleat. It's just a bunch of fabric, and he turned it and pinned it a certain, but it made a beautiful shape. Wow. And then so how to get that off the form and make it into a dress. And it's only one hook in the back and one seam. Wow. He loved the raw edge. Everything was raw edge. No zippers. Very few of his pieces really have a lot of his clothing. I love it. I love Lanvin a lot. Only when he was at the helm,
Yeah.
And so meeting him was incredible. And Jean-Paul Gaultier, just like out there. He's completely out there. One couture show. I think I have a picture in that book where he had the girl's hair up, and he wanted to put flowers in the hair, but he put a whole dozen of red roses, stem and all. So the roses are here, and then the stem is over here. He's just wild. And then he had the whole face, body, everything covered. This is before Balenciaga did it. 2-3 years ago, where the face was covered and everything. But he did that, and then he covered his whole atelier. Every light, every chair, everything was covered in fabric, so nothing could move. So he'd go way out, like just out on a limb, really. Yeah. And so it's to watch people's mind work the way that, it's so much to learn.
Catch up to what he'd done.
Yeah, so much to learn.
Yeah. That's really cool. Is your husband involved very much in what you're doing here?
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Keep it separate.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you're looking to hire people now, and you've hired many people through the years. But in a world, in a field of people who are trying to be unique in hiring, what really has caught your eye to set someone apart?
Someone who can wear all hats, because it's a very small company. Someone whatever it is you do is what you do. One, if it's production, or social media, or sales, or that's it. That's all. Those are 3 arms of my company. But to be able to do all of it, to be able to understand all of it, not do it. One doesn't have to, but to understand that yes, this like you shipped out a whole lot of stuff that the factory needs for the next collection, for the next big order that came. So which bow, where do you get it, the feather place, where do you order, the clasps, the clips,
Yeah.
and then getting, so that's production. And then sales, what are our sales platforms? Go to all the stores that we've sold in the past before COVID and call them, cold call them. And then we just got this new platform, Joor, Joor, and Charlie's been working on it, and it's interesting. Yeah.
It's a platform that you can put imagery up of your product, and little mom and pop shops, basically, or specialty shops, are able to come
big
purchase
brands.
it. Big brands too, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so, they came to us 12 years ago when they opened, and that's what they were then.
Wow.
Now, everyone is on Joor. Even Neiman Marcus prefers
To shop
to shop Joor.
That's great.
No, they've evolved a lot.
Yeah.
And now, especially with everyone, working from home, and so Joor has, COVID's been good for them.
Yeah.
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 Because now it's, I joined this year, which is 3 months ago.
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah.
Because it's a lot of work for a sales representative to be able to show your line to everyone. This way, it's all in one place.
Right,
They can
right.
kind of pick and choose what they might like. And of course, if yours are one of a kind, it must be even more challenging to get
Yes,
them
exactly,
up
because
and
it's
live
not
on
from
there.
last season that it's
Right.
it's the same thing. They're all different. So
Yeah.
we produced, I don't know, this is a very, very popular style. So it's online,
Yeah.
and it's about 8 years old, but they still order it. So you
Really?
can order anything from that. We do take styles away. We take down styles that we don't want to produce 800, different styles.
Yeah.
So how many do you think we have online right now?
I want to say maybe like 70.
Something like
Wow.
that. So you can pick on some old styles too.
Yeah.
But yeah, these two are old styles. But these are all new. All that is with feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. There's a number of people in the room who are thinking they want to launch their own company one day, and I wonder what kind of advice you might have for them.
Yeah, find the thing that makes you happy. Find the thing that comes easy to you. I didn't go to college. I couldn't be writing books. That's not happening. Even though there's when I've told a story, it's gone into a book. But that's someone who likes to write and interpret a story that. But what is it that makes you that you can't? What do you dream about? When you sleep, a lot of my work comes to me in my dream, because I'm obsessed especially when I'm designing. So what is it that you want to do? And it's not one thing. Look how much. I also had a furniture business for a little while before I started the embroidery, because I wanted to contribute. My children were young. Whenever I'd go to India, I would go to all the palaces, the palaces that were selling their furniture. So the best furniture,
Wow.
Art Deco palace, I would buy the whole thing
Oh my gosh.
and then put it on 40-foot containers and bring it to New York. We had a house in Connecticut and the garage to put, and then I had 5 stores that would come and buy the furniture. So it's not something that I studied to do. It's not something that was my passion, but it just came upon. I went to this furniture shop and he said, "Oh, I get my stuff from all these places." So I went to the palaces. It's just one thing after the other. It's an entrepreneurial head. If you can find the entrepreneur inside of you, that could be, this is a business. I could make this into a business. Start at home. If you're good with your hands, make something. And so the trajectory has just been from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
And for Hope Furnishings, it's only 2 years old.
Yeah.
But it is right now my most successful thing so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. Well, at the outset of the semester, we came up with 4 questions to ask all of our guests, and the first would be, what advice do you have for yourself from when you were just starting out? If you could go back and talk to yourself then.
What advice would I have to myself? Not to flip so much. stick it out and stay longer in what's doing well. I should have stayed longer with Phoenix, with that company. But I was like, I want to do it for my, that really was a cash cow, that company. It really made money, it excited me. I was so, always so excited to do the next collection, to do the next thing. And I'm working with the greatest minds, the designers are just, I was learning so much. But I should have stayed longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't have started this, so, I don't know. But I do regret sometimes that I should have kept both.
Yeah.
But there was too much travel with that, so
Yeah.
I had
it's
to
tough.
choose one. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the most important thing you learned on your first job?
On my first job, be on time. Yeah, I'm extremely punctual.
Yeah.
It's because
That's a great
yeah,
thing to be.
extremely punctual. I'm
Yeah.
never late. In fact, sometimes, just have to be fashionably late, so I'll toil about. And, just like maybe get a manicure because I'm too early, 15 minutes too early. But yeah, punctuality, to not forget to appreciate,
Yeah.
whatever someone is doing for you, and to thank, and yeah.
Yeah. I like that. What do you hate about the fashion industry?
So much.
Spill it.
I mean, it's sometimes so rapid, everyone is so about the trend, and you have to look like this, and you have to have this. And I mean, I'm going out to a party tonight, and no, Manny. It's like, I came yesterday, and I don't care. Don't be. I don't know. Also, trends. Don't follow trends. I mean, I shouldn't say don't. I don't, because then you get wrapped up in, and they will change it every season because it's the way they make money, the fashion world. Whatever speaks to you, have your individual style. What you would put with something you have from when you were in school, and you love it so much. Bring that out and wear it with something you've just bought. Fashion is just too rigid. The classes, it makes people like, it depends on what you can afford and not afford. The high-low should be, wear the stuff that is inexpensive, but wear it well, wear it right. You don't have to follow fashion at all. Follow your style. Like Iris Apfel. She, the lady with the big glasses, is 102 years old, very good friend of mine. And she's style. Her style is impeccable. Some of her stuff has been with her for 75, 80 years. And she's been a collector of jewelry and accessories her whole life. But the fact that she just enjoys putting and whenever she comes out, I mean, however old she is, she has a cane, but she's not fashionable. She's not trendy at all, but she's known the world over for her passion and her
Taste.
taste. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Thanks. The last question is, what is the biggest macro trend you see happening in the fashion industry in the next 5 years?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't follow it like that.
Or what are you seeing in your spaces between home furnishings and jewelry?
Right. But definitely what goes, it starts with art, starts with the museums. And it depends on what exhibit is happening in at the Met or in Paris, or even if it's Monet, or and then everyone gets inspired by the Van Gogh thinking, everyone gets inspired, and then you'll see a little trend, and then it trickles down to fashion.
Yeah.
And home furnishing. There's a trickle down to, but the trends in fashion, I don't know, I don't follow.
Yeah.
I know that, it's very sad for me to see fur gone, and faux fur is now replaced it, which is much worse for our environment than, I mean, don't wear the fur.
Yeah.
I mean, mink is a rat, really.
Yeah.
We kill cows to eat.
Yeah.
And so we can use mink to, I mean, I know the way they killed it is not a good thing, but I'm sure there is a better way to find that. But we're actually ruining I just went off topic completely. We're ruining our world with the faux fur. It's just, so I mean, if there's trends because of sustainability and what should be used, of course, plastic, nothing. So now I love the idea of the bags. Everyone has, you make a beautiful bag that you will wear, tote bag that you will take with everything. But I don't know about what trend is, what's good. I don't know. I don't think of the world like that.
Yeah. Well, sustainable fashion certainly sounds like
Yeah,
trends.
really.
Or at least people paying more attention to it.
Right.
I think that's the end of my questions. What questions are there out here?
Thank you, by the way, for coming today.
You're so welcome.
It was fun to look at. The question that I have is, just recently Dior did their collaboration with India and kind of celebrated the artisans there, which was really interesting to see that. At my internship, I work at Oscar Renta in the atelier, and I see embroideries like in and out all the time. And I think the company in general doesn't necessarily bring up they're coming from India and they're coming from these places. And so my question is, do you think that the artisans of India have been properly represented and celebrated? So many houses getting their embroideries. And
Very, very, very good question. So, because Naeem's great-grandfather, actually great-grandmother, started the business at home. She got artisans, the ladies, give it to their husbands because they didn't mix at that time. They were in Parda. And and embroidery now is one of the biggest company in the world, actually. Lesage and S.U. Zariwala, which is the mother company. In those days, the artisans were just given, you have them in your factory and you give them this much per 6 hours is one nafri. 6 hours, and they can sit 12 hours. So every nafri, which means every 6 hour segment, they would get X amount. But every factory would give them, some people were exploited. So my great-grandfather-in-law started this, and Naeem's grandfather, the next generation, he made it mandatory that every year it goes up by this much. And you will not hire so because they're taught when they're young. So they could start working right away at 16 or 15 or even 13, and you cannot do that. So you have to wait till they're 18 years old. So you study this, and then you learn something else. So you have another skill. So a lot of the kids that are young they have the skill to embroider. They can, do that if they want. But they'll go and take a computer course or something that, there's a lot of call centers in India and do that. But they are getting a lot of recognition and respect now, more and more. And a lot of artisans left because they weren't able to feed their families. Because there are people who will exploit. There's factories that that my company farms out. They will give the job somewhere else. So it's not happening. Whatever happens under both my roofs are, they're taken very good care of. At 4 o'clock, the whole country shuts down for tea. It's so Indian. At 4 o'clock, everyone. You stop for half an hour, you have a tea,
nice.
and you chit chat. And the English took that from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the English at 4 o'clock, they must have tea. it's tea time with
Yeah.
biscuits and
Yeah.
So it's and they all get their break. Now when they have a 12, let's say that they're doing 2 6 hours, they serve dinner and but that's the factories that our factories do that.
Wow.
But there are many factories that can do that now. India has surpassed Lesage. You know who Lesage is? The French couturier. I met Francois Lesage. He asked for someone to bring me to his factory in Paris, because his atelier in Paris, because I was taking a lot of his business. So a lot of Indians, when they went around, it was very ethnic. It was Paisleys and so he wanted to meet me. And I met his son in India this time. The factory has moved to Bombay and
Oh, wow.
Madras and Chennai. So that now the West is coming there. So they pay better. The environment is better. So it is becoming very recognized, and people are coming back to it. The workers are coming back to it. It's a man's profession. It's not what a woman will do on the side. He was raised to be this. This is what you're going to be. So Naeem's grandfather embroidered. He was one of the workers, and then he became the owner of a factory.
Wow.
And then his son, Naeem's father, became the top designer in India. He revolutionized the sari actually.
Oh, wow.
Like the pleats would be a different dye, a different color. And it's very interesting with the sari. It's 8 yards of fabric.
Yeah.
6 or 8 depending, and the dhoti is the 9. And then Naeem was came to America and started off with Halston and did all the embroidery for Halston. That's why Halston didn't want Naeem to leave, because the embroidery became such a big thing, with Liza Minnelli and Betty Ford. Everyone wanted to wear a Halston dress at that time.
Yeah.
So, it all came out of India. And now Lesage the factory is in India, and it's getting better. There are still people that are being exploited, but that happens everywhere. But yeah, I just love the artisanship. I'm going to say something that Halston would say, Indians do good hand job. It's like, sorry, I was here to the naughty side. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they're really good. Artisanship in India is, because it's very ancient. The
Passed
culture,
down, yeah.
it's passed
Yeah.
down. Everything is hand carved, and
Is there a concern at all about that going away, or do you feel like it's definitely still continuing?
no,
for the next
it's
generation?
not, and that's because of the stores. Designers like Dior came there and they talked about it. They talked about Indian artisanship, and they showed it mostly on Indian models. And they had that. Did you see the flower arrangements that they did?
Yeah.
All by hand. Now that's called, Rangoli is a very big part. That's what I grew up watching. And colors, that's why colors are so important to me. In everyone's homes, they have a little piece of wood with little legs, and that is your Rangoli, which is where you're going to make a pattern every day. Some of them are you can do it really fast out of powder, and some you can, it can take a long time. I've seen Rangoli being done, it takes 5 hours, and it just with the hands, it's powder, making the straight lines. I learned how to do it, watching people. It is so exciting. They did that with flowers. So they created this beautiful pattern. Well, I can't remember what the pattern was because I saw it up close, but from top, it was just, when I look at it in a photograph, it's beautiful. But it's all with flowers. So can you imagine this? You have to finish it before the show, and you can't start too early because the flowers will die. So it's like get it together, and that's the colors in India are just colors and techniques. In India are just incredible.
It's amazing.
It's an amazing country.
Yeah.
5,000 years old. Embroidery is thousands years old.
Wow.
Yeah, when the Taj Mahal, which is 500 years old. No, how old is the Taj Mahal? Yeah, 530 something years. But it's all it's marble, and inlay. It's all hand inlay. So each little leaf and the flowers so it's very, very tall, and the door it's very wide on top and it comes down on the sides. So when you're looking up at it, it looks like it's exactly the same size, but it's not, and it's all done by hand. And the 4 minars, the 4 towers outside of the Taj Mahal, if there is an earthquake, they won't fall in, they'll fall out. So I mean, that's the 500 years ago.
They figured it out. Yeah.
How to do that? But they've had earthquakes, but they haven't fallen yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it is it's
Oh, that would be
one of the 8 wonders
Yeah.
of the world,
Yeah.
and it's all made by hand. Artisanship is India's
In the heritage.
in the heritage.
For
very,
sure.
very big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions?
So you work with you're at Oscar de la Renta, and you work with the team with embroidery.
Yeah, I'm kind of all over. So I design and then I work in Nettoya. I was like hand sewing for 15 hours on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay.
How you doing? Your hands hurting?
Yeah, they're all cut off. I'm not allowed to touch any white dresses.
Yeah.
But good. Anybody else?
Any other questions?
It's lovely to see all your faces.
Thank you. This is such a unique and refreshing perspective. I think very different from everyone else we've had all semester. So we appreciate having
good.
you. Thank you. I don't know if anyone wants to take out a look at anything. I don't know if you're rushing off.
No, you want to see anything?
And then if we're